Welcome to the Capacity Podcast. I'm Gemma Kelly, a women's wellness coach and breathwork facilitator. And this podcast is for women who are strong, capable, and living very full lives. Women who care about their health and want to feel good in their bodies, but often feel this quiet pressure that they should be doing more, coping better, or just holding everything together. And what I've learned over the years is that most women don't have a motivation problem. They have a capacity problem. Their nervous systems are overloaded, their lives are full, and their bodies are just asking for a different kind of support. So in this podcast, we talk about breath work, movement, nervous system health, and what it really takes to rebuild your energy in modern life. So if this resonates with you, please make sure that you follow or subscribe so you don't miss any of the episodes, and you can come and say hi on Instagram. I'm at Gemma Kelly Wellness. Thank you for being here. I'm really glad that you found this space. Let's get into today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Capacity Podcast. In the last episode, we talked about the 6 invisible patterns that many high-functioning women are running in the backgrounds of their lives. We were talking about patterns like overfunctioning, people-pleasing, high-achieving, pushing through, those very things that make these women incredibly capable and strong on the outside, but can also quietly drain a lot of energy. And today, I want to talk about something that often sits on top of that. So as you can tell, we're going through the layers here, which is this idea that we actually need fixing. Because if you spend even a small amount of time in the wellness world, and I've been in it for a while, or even on social media, to be honest, you'll quickly notice that there's a lot of messaging about fixing yourself. And a lot of it is masked in things like this: fixing your hormones, how to rebalance your hormones, fixing your gut, fix your anxiety, fix your mindset, fix your productivity, fix your morning routine, fix yourself a green juice. And I understand why this messaging exists, because when you feel tired or overwhelmed or emotionally stretched, it's very natural to start looking for solutions, right? And I know this because I've done it myself many, many times. I've absolutely been the person who has gone down every rabbit hole trying to find the thing that will finally make everything feel easier. I've done all the diets. I've tried all the supplements. I've tried the different routines. I was trying to remember one the other day. Was it like P90? Anyone remember that one? I've done all the different practices, and sometimes those things can really, really help. So don't get me wrong on that. But the problem that we're talking about here, and the problem with this fixing narrative, is that it quietly suggests that something is wrong with you, that in some way you're broken and that you need correcting. And what I have come to realize over the last few years, working closely with women and learning much more about the nervous system, is that most women, and most of the women that I meet, are not broken at all. They're just simply overloaded. And their nervous systems have just been carrying too much for too long. Too many responsibilities, too many expectations, too many competing roles. Too much pressure to keep everything together. And one of the things I hear all the time from the ladies I chat to is this sentence: I know what I should be doing, but I'm just not doing it. Or, oh, I know I should be doing that, but I just don't have time. And that usually comes with a lot of shame. Like they think that the problem is discipline or motivation, or that somehow they've lost their edge. And sometimes some of them even think that they're lazy. But very often the real issue isn't that they don't know what to do. The issue is that their nervous system is already under far too much pressure, and our bodies do not respond well to more pressure. I think a lot of women also quietly absorbed this belief that their needs are inconvenient. And you might agree with me and you might not. But things like that rest is indulgent, or that slowing down is lazy, or that rest needs to be earned, or that if they were just a little bit more disciplined, a bit more organized, a bit more together, then everything would be absolutely fine. And that mindset, which is really driven by the wellness industry, keeps women stuck in a loop of constantly trying to correct themselves, trying the next plan, trying the next routine, trying the next diet, trying to optimize everything. And I think many of us have had that moment where we decide, right, this week, I'm going to get back on track. I'm going to meal prep. I'm going to train 3 times. I'm going to wake up early. I'm actually going to set my alarm and I'm going to get up. I'm going to drink more water. In fact, I'm going to buy a fancy new water bottle so that I do drink more water. I'm going to get off my phone. I'm going to become a completely different woman by Thursday. And for a few days, it probably feels quite motivating. But if you're already exhausted, it doesn't take much for life to happen, particularly when it comes to midlife and the never-ending swirl of hormones, a bad night's sleep, a stressful week, a child who needs something, a work deadline, and suddenly the whole plan collapses. And then we make that mean something about us. Does this sound familiar? We think, see, I can't stick to anything. When actually, maybe the plan was already asking too much from a nervous system that was already stretched. Because the body is not a machine, it's a system. And if that system has been under pressure for too long, the nervous system starts to struggle. Energy becomes harder to access and recovery becomes slower. Emotions sit a little bit closer to the surface. Sleep becomes more inconsistent. And this is where many women end up stuck in this cycle of trying to fix themselves, trying harder, adding more rules, adding more pressure. But again, if the nervous system is already overloaded, more pressure is rarely the answer. And it's not the answer that you're looking for, because I know none of you want to be told that you need to slow down. And this is why I often say something to my clients that can feel quite surprising at first. And I say this in my breathwork sessions as well. If you've ever attended any of them, you are not broken and you do not need fixing. Your nervous system is overloaded. And that is a very different starting point. Because if you truly believe that you're broken, the solution becomes fixing. But if your nervous system is overloaded, the solution becomes support. It's as simple as that. Support for the body, support for your nervous system, support for your capacity. And this is where practices like breathwork can be incredibly helpful and in some ways transformational. And I hate using that word, not because they fix anything, but because they give the body a chance to pause, to settle and to regulate and to move out of that constant state of pushing and overriding. For so many women, breathwork is the first time in their week where they stop trying to manage everything and they simply allow themselves to be where they are. And it was one of the reasons why I started running Breathe for Balance, which is a weekly breathwork session. I made it free for all of my clients to give them an opportunity during the week. And sometimes that pause can be incredibly powerful, not in a dramatic way and not in a performative way, but just a moment where the nervous system realizes that it doesn't have to keep on pushing, or at least not quite so hard. And when that begins to happen regularly, something quite interesting occurs. And that's where the energy starts to return and the clarity begins to return. The brain fog begins to lift a little and we can start feeling a bit more like ourselves. And it's not because you fixed yourself. It's because you've given your nervous system the support that it actually needed. And I think this is something that we really need to talk about more openly in the wellness space, because women don't need more pressure to become perfect versions of themselves. Most women are already doing more than enough, and that's why you're feeling stretched. And what they often need is a relief from the invisible load that they've just normalized. We need to find a way back into safety, back into steadiness, into self-trust and sustainable energy. So if you've ever found yourself feeling like you needed to fix something about yourself, I just wanted to offer you a different perspective that you might not need fixing at all. Your nervous system might just simply be asking for a bit of support. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Capacity Podcast. If this resonates with you, please make sure that you follow or subscribe so that you don't miss the next episode. And you can also come and say hello on Instagram. I am at Gemma Kelly Wellness. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really glad that you found this space. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about something that comes up for a lot of women, and that is why healthy habits can be really difficult to stick to when your nervous system is already under stress. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.